Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to season 2 of Conversations in Pop Culture. And before I introduce my guest, I do want to remind everybody there is a bunch of links up above for Sanju, who is my guest, his links, as well as my links. And two of my links are Buy Me a Coffee. So if you want to support anybody in this podcast, obviously use those links because it does make a difference. And even going beyond that, please like, share, and subscribe to this podcast and like the Facebook page because it does make a difference. So without further ado, let me introduce my guest, colorist who works almost exclusively for Zenescope, Sanju. I'm not going to try to say your last name.
Thank you so much.
I've given up. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me there.
I am very excited because obviously
me too. Yeah, this is my first time.
Oh, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. You're already a pro at this, so no worries. So one of the things that is fascinating about you is that you work almost exclusively for Zenescope, and you do a lot of coloring. And I'm very curious how you got into coloring and doing cover work and getting into comics, because you're in India. For those who don't know.
Yeah, I'm from India. So actually, the scene is I used to use upload my work on a DeviantArt, and one day there is a Mike DeBalfo found my artwork and he approached me for some commissions, and then the journey started there. And he suggested me for Zenoscope and all this about the history.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. And I'm gonna obviously show some Mike DeBaffo works in a second here because I know you worked with Mike DeBaffo.
Yeah, he suggested my name to the Zenoscope guys, and then I got work from Zenoscope and then other publishers and all. And this is my genre actually started from.
And so obviously, I mean, I love it, but one of the things is that being a colorist, it's massively underappreciated because it can make or break a cover. And we're going to dive into that, but obviously, what is that like for you? Because a lot of people like Mike DeBaffo and Michael D. Pascal, who was on earlier this week, you do a lot of his work, and while obviously, and we're going to talk about a particular cover that might be a little bit embarrassing for Zenescope, and I think you know what cover I'm talking about, and I'm sure they're going to love me tonight when I bring it to their attention too. But what is that like? Because your colors definitely add to a cover, and it makes a difference, and it really completes the entire look. And Zenescope has a particular look. So what is that like? Because it does elevate the cover, and it can make or break it.
Yeah, see, anytime I see the line work, I'm get so impressed with the artist. I love all the artists and their line work. They are masters, and I love doing colors under their lines. That's my motto, to give some depth and light and all. Whenever I see the line work, I first of all I sit there and think of for lighting and the depth and the like it's a daylight or it's a night light kind of, and how the figure will get light from front light or the backlit or kind of. That's the main thing I work on.
Yeah, and obviously you do so much and you bring things out in colors, and it's so impressive to me because I can't draw. I don't understand color theory. I don't understand anything. All I know is that when I see covers, I'm like, this works, and it's phenomenal. And so it's something that's very cool, and I love it, and I do want to dive into it. And I think the perfect cover to start with is Mike DeBaffo. And I'm going to throw up an image because this is like the perfect.
Oh yeah, this is very early stage. I think this is I did in the 2011 or 10 something.
Yeah, so this is like early, very early.
Yeah, I did 3 versions for this, like day, evening, and night. Night light, daylight, and evening light.
I
love the timing. Yeah, right. Yeah, this is the night version. There is one version with the evening light. Yeah.
And so to talk about this, because obviously the artwork, and nothing is Mike DeBaffo here, but the artwork per se didn't really change all that much with this,
Yeah.
but the lighting does, because as you see right here, her
Yeah.
skin's obviously lighter, which makes sense. It's daytime,
Mm-hmm.
it's a clear day. We obviously see a variety of stuff. Her shadow is different. And then we get into nighttime, and
Yeah.
obviously her shadow has changed tremendously, where we sort of get a shadow from the ball, we get a shadow under her feet. We obviously get a darker sky. We get sort of lightning shooting
Yeah.
out
The
over
lighting
the city.
backlit and the front light and backlit, the both light has to there
And so,
for
what is
yeah.
this like? Because obviously, her uniform changes a little bit. And so, you get to really play around with colors
Mm-hmm.
because you can't keep the same colors on the girl for both of these covers because it wouldn't make any sense. And also, getting to add the moon in there and getting to add that lightning in there and also having it pop and making sure that it works. So, what is this like? Because this is a really good example. And Zenescope is famous for this, of
Yeah.
having
Yeah.
two free covers
I,
of the
I I
same.
learned I
Yeah.
learned from them only because I was not a colorist or not a digital artist before that. I started doing just the digital paintings and I put some my work on DeviantArt and then Mike Double found and then I started to learning what is the comic coloring and how comic cover should be. And then like this cover, I whenever I get the line work, I see it proper and think on that what lighting we can do like if this is a daylight then what we can do is if it is a evening light then what we can do if it's a night light lighting. So I choose the I search for the lighting kind of like beach light if the night and then how it come if the day how it's come then I think on the light and then I try to apply what kind of light is suitable for this image.
And I just love it because obviously it works. The moon makes it, it's a source of light. Obviously, her shadow is thrown into it, and it works in a lot of ways. And if you don't have the right coloring, this could really throw off the entire
Thank you so
thing.
much.
Where
Thank you so much.
obviously, I mean, and that's what I love about this. And so this is why I wanted to start with this cover because I think this really shows what you can do. And this is old school. And on top of that, this is San Diego Comic Con, which is one of the
Yeah,
largest cons too. And it's very much a showcasing type thing when you're working on it. And then it's also Mike DeBaffo. And so it's sort of like an
yeah.
exclusive cover. And so a lot of pressure probably went into this.
See, I started my as a coloring my job as a colorist. I started with the Mike Develop only, and that's my starting main published work, like from Zenescope. Before that, I never did any published work like cover or something. Before that, I just doing digital painting or like portraits and all and I started with my some of my covers, and then Bill found me. The Bill making, yeah, he found me, and like other like Coffin Comic and other people, yeah, and then found me. There.
But I want to stick with
Yeah,
Zenescope because I love
yeah,
Zenescope in a lot of ways. And obviously, I want to show another Mike
cool.
DeBaffo. And this
Yeah, it's
is
cool.
New York Comic Con.
Yeah, this is New
And
York Comic Con,
obviously, I'm a football fan. This is the New York
and
Giants.
I think
Whether
this
they
also
want
has
to
a
admit
two
it or
version.
not,
Yeah, yeah. This one also has a two version. I think evening and daylight.
so this one has the
Yeah, yeah, right.
Jets. So this is the New
Yeah,
York Jets, which aren't
yeah,
that
right.
good. I don't know how much you follow American football, but the Jets aren't that good. And then the Giants
Oh,
are phenomenal. And so obviously, but it's nonetheless, it's New York Comic Con, which is another big Comic Con.
yeah,
And
right.
I love these in general. These are hard to find as far as on eBay. They tend to go for money because it's old school Zenescope. But what was this
Yeah,
like? Because I would imagine you had some more instructions as far as coloring this because it obviously has to be a little bit more sports oriented. It's got that football vibe to it, and it's definitely meant for the two New York teams in it. And you also got like the yellow cab in there, which is a nice touch,
yeah,
and making sure that it's yellow cab New York City. But what was this like? Because obviously this is very very playful in a lot of
yeah, yeah.
ways.
Like whenever I get the cover line work from the like Zenoscope, and they send me with a reference like what color t-shirt is there, what kind of the hair for her, what costume or what background is this. They suggest me everything, almost everything. Like, and then I have to use like what kind of lighting I have to put and all. Other than the eye color or hair color or costume color, they provide all these things. They give you
Yeah.
proper directions. Yeah, right.
And then I love this
Yeah,
too because what I like about this, and obviously you've been to New York City, is that I
yeah.
love the
I
fact that, just to compare it really quickly, this is daytime and the cab's light is not on, the top of the cab isn't light up, and in this we get that lighting up. Obviously we get the glow from behind her with the sun that creates a very cool thing. We get
yeah,
that entire thing, and then also we get the fact that the billboards look like they're being lit up, and it's a very
yeah,
nice effect because that's how New
yeah.
York City would look.
I love experimenting like this, like the giving the different lights and all. And this cover has a so much scope for lighting, different lighting. Like I have scope for the daylight properly, and then I have for the evening light. I can give sunset light effect and the taxi and all the billboards and all. There is so much scope for lighting, and this is very earlier cover. I think I was not too much too good. I was learning so much. I had to learn on this.
And I think this is so underappreciated because this is a lot of work and it takes a lot of understanding on how to do it. And it's the little things that matter in this. And I think that, and the reason I wanted to talk to you in most part is because it's these little things that make a huge difference that makes a comic cover pop out. Where technically speaking, you could have not done an evening version of this and you could have just done a New York Jets version, a New York Giants version for New York Comic Con and not go the extra mile with the New York Jets and version of this cover. And it's very, very
Hmm.
nice to that degree when it's done this way. And so obviously it's very, very cool going that extra mile because this is why people love Zenescope is that these covers go the extra mile when you
Yeah,
have these
right.
covers.
Yeah, right. And
And then
this cover has
obviously
so much depth. Like the first figure, then the taxi, then the building, then sunset, and all that. There has so many layers. That it has so many depth and your scope, so many scope to give
yeah,
us the
that's the
lights
other
and
thing
all
too that
that.
I
Yeah,
love, as well as that you can actually feel like you're in the cover
yeah.
scene.
In the right. Thank you so much.
And I know Mike DeBaffo laid it out, and I know that then you did the coloring, but in many ways, the coloring adds depth to it, and it's very important. Where it's super important to understand that it is very much while a colorist can make or break a cover, and this doesn't look flat, which is what color adds to it, because color adds depth, and then when you have those
Yeah,
lighting up scenes in particular, that adds further depth because it actually positions that the girl on the cover is standing up front, the taxi is behind her, and behind the taxi is a billboard, and that we get those lights that are somewhere in between all this and a variety of other things going on, and that it's a very active scene.
yeah. Right.
So I love it. And then talking about
Thank you.
another cover to throw up, because Zenescope, and I love this.
Yeah.
And this is just fun to
Yeah.
me. Obviously, I like motorcycles in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
and this
Me
is
too.
cool one. And so, and this is a lot more playful because obviously I think this was sort of
Perfect.
yeah. So
Yeah.
what's the story behind this? Because obviously, please help Nick
Yeah.
San Diego Comic Con bound. It's just a little nice touch right there.
Yeah, like I said, the Zenescope team always give you the proper direction. So what they want and what the feel and look what they want. They suggest, they properly suggest you, and they give you freedom. What after against that, you whatever you want to do, you can do it. Like what time kind of sky you want to give, what kind of lighting you want to do. They just give you properly like the scenario. What is the scenario? The bike, girl, and the background. They suggest you what they want, and then you have to do it what you want like to do, what you can do it.
And I love how clean the motorcycle looks on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I like about it.
I like
Where
that shine and the the headlight lighting.
And I like
Yeah,
how it looks clean. It looks great, and it's like all chromed out also, and
yeah,
it looks like a nice motorcycle. And that's what gets me with this cover is that we have a sexy girl on a really clean motorcycle. So I love that cover. And then obviously we got to talk about Ali Garza and this cover.
yeah. This one also very old cover, I guess. Yeah,
And this
because
was actually just
Christmas.
made into a medal a few months ago,
Oh,
which is
okay.
awesome because
Oh,
obviously it was
cool.
in a Zen box, which means that it's super exclusive. It was made into a medal, and
Oh, cool.
obviously medals are very nice, and it sort of
Yeah,
embodies and makes it more standard and more permanent and more durable. And obviously, metal books fetch more money. And so it's always nice, I would imagine, when your book is an exclusive and even a higher exclusive that you got to color on. And it's a Christmas book. And
yeah.
I don't
Christmas.
know, the world celebrates Christmas for the most part. So what was this like doing a Christmas book with a sexy girl pretty much and some serious sexy lingerie?
No, you see, in actually, I have to say, like in India, it's quite. I can't share much, like these covers or all or some like in India or my Facebook page or some. So I used to share on DeviantArt. This is kind of like a semi-nude stuff and all. So I keep little bit away from the Facebook and all for sharing this stuff. And this Christmas thing, we don't have much like this the snow thing and all. So this is also again I got so much direction from Zenescope team also for the snow and all the like snowman, how it has to be, how it's cap and all, because we don't have snowman or something here in India. Yeah.
So, so,
So
so,
I,
so what is that like for you to say, hey, we don't have snow in India. Can you send me a reference? Because it sounds ridiculous, but it's the idea that, obviously, in America we have snow. I live in
yeah.
Eastern, so I'm used to snow. And
Okay.
what is that like? Because obviously this is playful with snow, and snow goes a certain way, and it's
Yeah.
kind of like, hey, I'm not familiar with snow per se, and how do I
No, no.
capture that? Because it's really beautiful, what
No,
you've done with this cover, and then the metal
whenever
version.
yeah,
Nice.
whenever I get the file from Zenoscope team, and they give you direction like it's the what is the cover story. So they give you a girl having carrot, and then the snowman and snow, what kind of what some snowman. So I have to search for some references for on Google for that. So what kind of the snow thing, like snowman or the Christmas thing going on. So I have to search and find some references on that.
And I just love like the shading and the snow, and I love how it's not like pure white in there, and it's
Yeah,
got some gray in there too, because snow is not pure white sometimes.
yeah.
Nice
It
to get that,
it has some
shadow,
color and reflections. Yeah,
and it's nice to get that nice blend into it. And obviously I love it, and it also is nice because it's white against her red
her
bikini,
red.
and so
Yes,
we
ma'am.
get this white blue, and we really get a stark version of her in colors that makes a difference, where she really stands out, and she should stand out, of her
Mm.
popping out of a snowman, much like a girl would pop out of a cake type of feel for
Yeah,
it. And the
yeah,
colors
right.
do make a difference on this tremendously.
Yeah, like a cherry on the cake.
And so obviously, and there's one more from the original series, Grimm Fairy Tales, I want to talk about. And I
Yeah,
think,
this is a really interesting cover. Yeah, the Ibas, the great Ibas.
yeah. So let's talk about the legendary Ebass here, because
Yeah.
Ebass has been on my show,
Oh,
and
cool.
Ebass does everything. JP Roth has been on my show, and
Yeah.
that's Ebass's
Cool.
wife. And
Yeah.
so obviously, what was this like, doing a cover and getting to work on Ebass's art and getting to color his work, because he is very much a legendary artist for
Yeah.
Zen.
Yeah.
So
Right.
he
Right.
does a lot of great work, and it's sort of an honor,
Yeah.
to get to do that. When I got to interview him, it was a very good privilege for me. So obviously, I understand that Ebass has done everything.
For me too, yeah. because I'm big fan of Ibas. Before coming to the comic industry or doing coloring, I seen his work on DeviantArt. I used to see his work. I used to follow his all the artwork and pencil work. And then I'm so lucky that I got the chance to work on Ibas cover. Again, that there is a Mike Debalfo suggested Ibas my name for his some of his cover, and then I started working on Ibas covers also. And I'm big fan of Ibas cover. Yeah, his
And
line work is
yeah, so I mean, it must be awesome because I could imagine you never say, "Hey, I would be a colorist coloring Ebass's work." And
yeah
obviously, you've done Mike DeBaffo and you've done a lot of other people's work, but I would imagine it must be very cool when you're a fan of these people to say, "Now I'm coloring their work and I'm bringing
yeah
their product to the level it needs to be at," because that's what a colorist is supposed to do. A colorist definitely completes it and makes it pop out. And I love line art. I love black and white. I love sketch
yeah
covers. But it's the idea that saying, okay, I'm bringing this out to the next level. And it must be very cool to say, hey, and I don't want to say it this way, and I'm probably going to say politically incorrect. And so hopefully everybody's going to forgive me here, but I don't want to say you're completing Ebass's work, but you're adding the next layer onto it to bring it to where it's an EBAS piece.
Thank
That's
you. I'm trying to I'm trying to actually, because it's only line work also. If you see Ibas only line work, and this is also you can see say it's complete cover. Only line
and
work also you can see. Yeah. And you
and,
have you whenever you see the Ibas line work, it's like light gray and soft feel, and I don't know how he without hard pencil. I don't know how he does the perfect line work. I don't know how he does.
I don't know how EBAS does anything,
Yeah,
but that's not the
yeah,
point here. I stopped questioning how EBAS does his artwork, and I'm just enjoying it. So,
yeah,
so, so I've come to the conclusion that, again, and I'm not an artist, I'm not a writer at this point, I'm not a colorist, and so all this stuff amazes me, and I don't even know how you conceptualize it because I would be lost in the weeds by far, in which that I would be so lost in doing all of this that you could give
yeah,
me all the tools in the world and I would not be able
yeah,
to do anything like this.
yeah. The same here. Yeah.
And
Because
so
yeah,
obviously backing, yeah.
his line work may I most of so many times I told him Ibas also that I'm big fan of his work, and his line work beyond imagination. How can he does that? Mm, like the concept, like the proportions and all, and even the detailing, he puts so much details, and without doing too hard on the line work or too hard on the paper, he do very softly. All the details he do like that only. And I don't know how he puts all this details.
I love it, and I
Yeah,
love what he's done, and then obviously, I mean, there's so many other people I want to talk about as well, and I love this cover as well because it's just an E-Bass, and it screams E-Bass, and just the colors are just so fitting across it with this cover. And then I do want to jump into Grim Fairy Tales Volume 2 because I know that this is a
yeah,
more traditional cover, and I believe that this was done by Jose Luis,
yeah,
who did this cover. You laid down the colors, and so obviously this is when Grim Fairy Tales reset a little bit, and this is just one of those covers that you got
yeah.
to do, and you do a lot
It's
of
a
covers, the
complete
covers A's,
action.
B's, C's, and
Yeah.
D's. And so, what was this like? Because a lot of stuff's going on with this
Yeah,
cover.
this is kind of very, quite difficult. So to give a like action and the feel also, like snow and that snowman, he's doing action. So I have to give some light, like the uh, light coming from her sword and all her power, and then the snow also has the his white light and the reflections. So this one is like quite complicated, quite cover, I guess. So giving
And I
the
just love
proper
that
feel and all.
pink. I love the
Yeah,
pink in it, and I love like how it's sort of translucent and making sure that it hits and you can sort of see through it as well.
yeah,
A really nice touch with it.
yeah,
And so I love that. I also love the fact that the writing is in yellow. on a
Yeah, right.
background too, because it makes the writing pop out. So at least I know what's going on a little bit with the
Yeah,
cover. And this, so I love this cover. And then obviously Zenescope's made you do a bunch of other stuff too, such as
yeah,
this book,
yeah.
which
This is
I believe,
Jamie Endel.
and this was for the
Yeah.
Kickstarter, which is cool.
Oh,
So
cool. Yeah, yeah,
Zenescope
yeah. No,
runs
this is.
a lot of
I think this
Kickstarter.
is first. I guess her costume. This is first color for her costume.
And so obviously when you're doing a Kickstarter exclusive, I think this was limited to 250, I want to say. I mean, it says it, but I can't read
Oh,
because I'm blind as a bat. Um, and I think, yeah, it's 250 copies. It was Kickstarter exclusive. And so what is that like? Because this is cool where you're not doing a background on this, and now you're just coloring the character
yeah.
on a white background. And so we're getting a real character cover that is untraditional in Zenescope in a lot of
Yeah,
ways.
yeah, yeah. No, this is actually first character. It's a new character for the covers, and this character has a and this one I guess first costume for as a cover. Uh, I got the reference, just a rough reference for the her costume and all, and then we are trying just a little bit on blue, like darker blue or lighter blue. We are work on that, and then we finalize this little bit darker blue. And there is actually we did one other version also, like a little bit lighter blue or something. And then we are trying to get what kind of the costume color we want and all, because this one was a new cover that time.
And then also,
Yeah,
I just love that yellow because that yellow is almost
yeah,
gold.
yeah. The
And
contrast.
it's so rich in so many ways, especially on the, I guess, left side of my left side of her.
Yeah,
Like the ruffles look just so gold and so
yeah, yeah.
royal in so many ways, where I
Right.
feel like, she is a warrior, but she is a royal warrior coming out of
Yeah,
it. So
she has so
saturated
much
those
gold
golds.
accent. Yeah,
And so what is that like to figure out the right color and to get that saturation? Because again, I would be completely lost. And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not yellow, it's a lot of
It's
gold and
yeah,
shininess in it. And so what is that like for you? Because obviously color choice is super important. And even getting the fact that the ruffle and then it goes into a bit of a brown and it's yellow and then it sort of goes up into gold and
yeah.
it's very much as if it was real done in
Yeah,
that.
I like doing a silver part or like chrome or like gold. I like doing that. I like doing fabric, like doing a skin dimension, like skin rendering. So whenever I get the like most of the time like silver, chrome or gold, I love that doing, because that has so many dimensions, like 3D dimensions, like highlight and mid tone and the reflection, and you can play with it. So I love doing like this time, like her fold on her dress, like that has a like reflection on the shadow also coming on that, and the reflection also the her skin, her costume reflection. I love doing that. Then
And
gold,
then,
doing gold is a fun actually. Gold or silver, chrome, like
And then also, what I love about this is that the ruffle gold is different than our axe gold,
yeah, yeah.
and that's the thing is that, and I didn't know there was more than one gold.
Because that's the metal and the fabric. I have to make little bit differentiate on that, the metal thing and the fabric thing. Yeah.
And so I love that as well with this, and also I love the fact that it's a Kickstarter where these books don't come
Thank you
up
so
on
much.
eBay. People
Oh,
hold on to these books. They're obviously, I'm not too sure what Kickstarter it was attached to, whether that's a statue or omnibus. I'm not exactly sure, but it's the idea that it is a super exclusive cover beyond Zenescope's regular 250 prints, and it is very, very, very cool to that degree. And so obviously I love that. And so that's super,
thank
super
you so
awesome
much. Thank you. I
in a
love
lot
this.
of ways.
So yeah.
But obviously, I want to jump into Wonderland too, because Wonderland is phenomenal, and that's what Zenescope is sort of known for in a lot of ways. And we got to talk about this cover,
Oh yeah.
which
Yeah.
is an
You know
eBay.
the story. One more story behind this. There is one version, and that was Iba's mind. Like he did a version with the front and back, the same pose.
I'll show
Can
the
you
back
imagine
in
that?
a second. You're about to get in
Yeah.
trouble
This
here.
is,
So,
and when I seen that, I was like, ooh, how can I do the same pose with the same, with the front face and then the back pose? I don't know how he imagined. Yeah. same pose. Like you can when you the put yeah, this is the same pose actually. Not much difference. There is same pose, but the position is different.
So
It's,
this
yeah,
is the front pose, and then
yeah,
this is the
back.
back pose, and
Yeah,
obviously it's very similar.
similar. Yeah,
But
but
obviously
very different. Yeah,
she's
same.
facing front. I have
Yeah.
this cover, and I love
Oh,
this
cool.
cover, and it's great. And this was, I believe, a cover A or a cover B. It's not an exclusive cover, and it's a great cover. It's a fun cover. It's a very basic cover, and then this one I think is a lot more exclusive.
Oh,
Obviously, it's San Diego Comic Con, and it's a lot more risque. And I love the fact that the rabbit's missing. You know, she's not
yeah,
wearing stockings. She's basically in a thong, and it's pretty hot. And I think this
yeah.
is Allie or it's Violet. I forget.
So much skin. Yeah,
I forget who it is, but I love the fact that this is out there. And also, I think the way Ebass signs is that it's almost like a tattoo with Ebass on
tattoo.
it.
Yeah,
And then
right.
I think you copied your signature right below his.
Yeah,
And so that's
right,
very
right.
cool because it's signature Ebass the way he signs his books. And I think with all the books that you worked on for him, you sign in a similar fashion, which is very nice because that's a signature Ebass thing.
Yeah,
Ebass
right.
sign for the most part. It's very rare that an Ebass will be signed differently in that
Yeah,
like almost skin tattooed onto him.
yeah. His
And
his sign is always follows the body, like the like dimensions. Yeah, the
there are
like
very
tattoo.
few
Yeah.
Ebass covers that don't follow that rule, and the ones that don't obviously don't follow it for a reason.
Hmm.
And it's probably on request of who's the publisher or the cover who did the cover, or they requested something different. But it's the
Okay.
idea that it's so nice when something follows a body in many ways. And so I love this cover. I love the set of it
I
because it
love
is
it.
a set.
Yeah.
I actually like cover A better than I like cover B in this circumstance because this leaves more to the imagination and this is way more playful. And I would like to be the rabbit in that
Yeah.
situation. That's just me. That's just me. So obviously this is sort of the start to Zenescope's bringing back Wonderland in a lot of ways, and it's
Yeah.
very cool to have this cover out there.
Yeah. I love doing that cover.
And then this is another one that is
Yeah.
cool too. And this is
Yeah.
what is known as a secret retailer, I believe.
Yeah.
And
It's
so
Mike
obviously
Double Four.
this is just trippy as fuck.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that no, this cover is not broken. It's not damaged. It just looks that way. If you
Yeah.
buy this cover, it looks normal. It's supposed to look this way. I promise you. And it's supposed to look beat up. If you get this cover from Zenescope, it's going to come mint. I need to clarify the point. It's meant to be a beat up playing card with
Yeah.
obviously,
With the
you
broken
know,
glass. Yeah. I
and even
love
the
doing that.
edges are
Yeah.
tampered too in a lot of ways. And so,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
was
Right.
this like? Because I
Right.
think this is either a store exclusive or a secret retailer. And so, what was that like getting to work on one of these books? Because these are super exclusive as well, and it's also just a trippy book.
Yeah. Yeah. I like doing in this like glass broken glass. I love doing the concept. Like the broken glass are coming to the audience and shattered kind of, and it has again the two figures to each other. Yeah. And it's like
And,
old with the old kind of stuff like, and the blood also dripping on it, and like graffiti on the wall and with the card. I like this concept. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love the idea of a playing card.
Yeah.
Obviously, everybody knows this. Obviously, if you ever open up a deck of cards, for the fact that like there's the kings that are opposite sides, and it's a play on that, and the queens are opposite sides. Uh, It is just crazy, and obviously them being attached to each other. And I don't know exactly who threw this down and who drew it, but it's just a wild. I think it was a Mike DeBaffo. I think this
Yeah.
is
Yeah. Yeah.
him, and it's
Yeah.
just
Right.
a trippy cover that really does take a lot of effort to color it.
Yeah.
because you have to make sure like the colors aren't bleeding into each
Yeah,
other.
I have to rotate cover all the time. Yeah,
And
for
then
the
also
doing the bottom girl and then rotate it, and then the other girl. I have
and,
to work like on that like that.
And I would also imagine that you have to make sure that I guess I think it's Alice and Callie or Violet I think is on the other
Yeah.
side. And I could be completely wrong on that. So if you know Wonderland better than I do, everybody, feel free to correct me. But it's the idea that you have to make sure that those two color sets don't bleed into each other and also
Yeah.
don't hurt each other. And even just like the mushrooms and all that stuff, you have to make sure
Yeah.
all that stuff doesn't conflict with each other, and
Yeah.
it
Right.
can be a very difficult cover to color in many
Hmm.
ways.
Like when you see, actually this is a half part and divided into two. Like the same, the both girls are the same position and same hand position and body language at the same. The costume is different and hair style is different, and there is a rabbit in her hand. Like that kind of only some differences. Other than the pose is same and the her hand position and the body position is same. The hairstyle is different and the costume is different. Yeah.
And then also
So
just the
yeah.
fact that Callie's holding a rabbit and Alice is holding a Cheshire cat
Yeah.
is just
Yeah.
very
Right.
nice too, because it actually adds a very cool, almost yin and yang type feeling to it. So I love this cover in a lot of
Yeah.
ways.
Right.
And then
Right.
obviously I want to jump into another cover here, which is a Michael Dooning.
Yeah.
And this one is definitely just straight up my style, in which I
Yeah.
love it. It's screaming. I love the fact that she's sitting on a mushroom. It's
Mushroom. Yeah.
nighttime. We have her against the moon, and she's just holding a cup of tea. And it's very very cool, sort of Mad Hatter like. And so obviously this thing is super super cool in that regard. So what is the story
Yeah,
behind this?
I like this cover because the composition I like it a lot. Like very simple kind of highlighted the girl and then she has a moon, perfect moon behind her, and the color I can play with the color like the blue and the sky and the pink and green. I can play with that, and I love that doing that because I have so much scope in this, like doing pink for the mushroom and then her costume red, black, and the bright blue behind her. It has a kind of very colorful and interesting for doing the colors. I like
Yeah,
the
no, no.
doing that.
I
Yeah,
love I
yeah.
love the green. I love the fact that it blends into the
The
sort of
yeah,
dark blue
yeah,
sky. I also like the fact that the sky is in black or purple because I think it's nice when you don't have a complete black sky.
yeah, right.
And then on top of that, you have that position with the light blue moon, and you have some white, and you also have I guess some craters in the moon that are sort of highlighted out, and then we have her and her upper body is sort of centered behind it, which draws your eye not to necessarily the center of the cover, but slightly off the center.
Yeah,
And
right.
the color helps tremendously because you could have made the moon completely white and
Yeah,
it would have been much starker. And I think it would have worked in a lot of ways, but it would have almost been like a spotlight on her or in
yeah,
behind
like
her. And now
glow
this is
behind
her.
her. Yeah, yeah, like glow behind her. Glow is coming from there. I like the because the proportion is a overall cover. We can see her boots, detailed boots, and then her face. We can see all over our eyes. We can see all over the cover
And
properly. Yeah,
also, it all blends together in a very, very gradual way as well, where it's not stark and it's not pushing out hard versus it's going
yeah,
gradual. And I like that a lot because it seems more natural in so many ways.
yeah.
And so
Thank you, thank
I love this cover, and I think this cover sort of screams what Wonderland is.
you. Yeah, I enjoyed doing that. Yeah,
And then obviously, I like to go down the rabbit hole because this is an Anthony Spey.
yeah,
And this
and
is cool too because obviously this is Anthony Spey and going down the rabbit hole, and this is kind of a little bit of a more
like
aggressive cover of yours, I must
like
say.
a fisheye view kind of thing, like a camera from on the ground, and we can see girl coming up from up, running towards the camera. I like this composition. Yeah,
and obviously Anthony Spay laid down the work. You did the colors on it, and it's just super cool because it's a lot of action. And
Yeah, right.
obviously, this is definitely more stark in my opinion.
Yeah, right.
And
I love it.
they
Yeah.
followed up with this one
Ah,
too.
yeah.
I think this is a Sean Chen.
Yeah, this is the interesting cover also again. Yeah, so because it had the daylight, the sun and the moon, and the castle and the mushrooms and all. It has so many dimensions. Yeah,
And
to
I
play
like
with
this
it.
one because we have sort of that half sunlight coming in. We have half darkness coming in. We
Yeah,
have an entire sort of city castle thing in the middle. And we have Alice holding a rabbit that looks like it's half decaying come out of a hat. And we have a bunch of mushrooms. And it's just trippy. And
yeah,
it's a cool cover in a lot of ways. And I know this cover's not for everyone. I
yeah,
know, but it sort of depicts maybe sort of tripping what's going on and hinting at what's going on with down the rabbit hole. And so it's
yeah.
very, very cool when we have covers like this that I think really push you as a colorist in a lot of ways to say, okay, how do I go? Because you're now doing a night and day cover at the same time.
Yeah. No, this is a very interesting concept actually. When I see the cover and guidelines I got from Zenescope, I was like so excited to do the lightings on this. Like we can give all over the cover the light, blue light and the orange light for her body, her skin, her costume, and the mushrooms and all. We can play with that. And there is like a kind of three lights, like front light and the one is a blue light and one is a orange light, and main light is a from front. And this is quite like interesting cover to do play with lights and all and colors.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I love it. I think it's brilliant to have that division. And
yeah,
also, Sean Chen did this, and Sean Chen is in many ways a
yeah,
fantastic artist. He's good at interiors. He's good at covers,
yeah, right.
everything, and he can do some trippy shit. And this is trippy shit here.
Yeah, I like the concept how we imagine that the concept like the same time the moon and the sun both in the one picture.
And so I think it's great, and I love it, and even for you, because obviously you work with a lot of artists and
Yeah,
you obviously get their line work, and obviously I and correct me if I'm wrong, I would imagine that when somebody brings you something like this, you're like, okay, how am I supposed to color it? But you also say,
yeah,
oh, this is really cool, and now I can bring certain colors because if somebody brings you something basic, it might be harder to color it in certain ways versus something that is like this. Because with something like this, you have a lot more, I guess, tools to play with. Because if
yeah,
you have a moon and a sun, and you have light clouds and dark clouds, you can expand your color palette and where do those colors meet, and then all sorts of stuff. And then if you have a lot more to color, and it's not just a green going into, not to beat with the Michael Dooney here, but this seems
yeah,
almost simpler to color
yeah,
versus
right,
this. And
right.
if you have something that's more complicated, there's more possibility for tools to play with, I
Yeah,
would
like
imagine.
whenever like I get the line work something like this, I have to sit and the think for the first of all before starting the colors, I have to sit proper and think on the what kind of the final light I'm going to give, like the where is light coming from. Those things I have to work on first, and then I start rendering on that. Like the first the main light is the front light that on her skin and body, like all over the cover, and then the main other lights are like orange light, the on the left side and the right side blue light. I have to think on that what kind of this I have to play with these three lights. So whenever I get something like this, I have to sit and think on that, like of what kind of final lighting should be.
Yeah, no, no, I
Yeah,
love this cover, and then obviously I love all your work because it's just so good. And I
thank you so
honestly,
much,
I think
thank you
you're
so
one of my
much.
favorites, and obviously we all have favorites, and obviously though I do want to go into madness, continuing because we're down the Wonderland thing.
Oh yeah.
This is I believe Mike Chrome. did this cover,
Yeah,
and he
yeah, yeah. This is also, I think, a very earlier cover with the mic chrome. Yeah,
and what I like about this cover is that she is in front of a mirror.
mirror.
And
Yeah,
so
and
it's kind of a cool cover because it's not your traditional cover, and everything sort of had to be done reverse a little bit when Mike Chrome put it together. And then we
yeah.
get the lighting on the thing, and obviously we get that guy in the back, and well, we get, the Mad Hatter doing what the Mad Hatter does, and
Hmm.
it's kind of fun in a lot of ways. And also, this is definitely, I feel like more centric, and she's very busty, and I like that. A lot of cleavage is showing.
Yeah, yeah. And this is kind of, this one is like before the selfie thing coming up. So we took a photos from camera like in the on the mirror, like before the selfie thing happened. So then when I got this cover, that I like playing with the flashlight in when coming from our camera, and the flash is in the mirror. We can see the flashlight glowing, and then the in the on that the hole there is a two eyes are popping. The eyes are glowing, and then blood dripping off on the wall, and the light from other side, like from door. That there's so much to play in this, like
And
three
I
four
also
light.
love
Yeah,
how the blood is written, and getting that done, and how that's not pure red, and there's some
yeah,
depth to the blood. Obviously, it's very pinup esque with her. I like the fact that the Wonderland thing is over her hat, so the green pops a little bit out of the writing.
yeah, yeah.
Red
Writing.
and,
Yeah,
and green always work together. I like the fact that her skin, I like the fact that she's attractive. She looks a little bit sinister in her coloring. And then also, I love the fact that there's just blood sort of in the bottom part of the screen of the cover. There's a little blood on the handle of the sink, and we know that she's in a bathroom. And
yeah,
obviously, we get a lot of context that's going on. And then also, we might have a mystical creature sort of watching her, if you can
yeah.
see
Right.
there.
The
There's a
eyes.
lot of stuff working
Yeah,
here.
I when I first sent, I did two versions for this, like one with the flash and one without the flash. I sent both to them, and then they decided to go with the flash one, and I like that because that we can with that flash we can give some light on her hand and face, and the blue glow against that yellow light behind coming from her behind, and orange. So it
So,
gives proper contrast. Yeah.
So what is that like? Because obviously Microm lays out a bunch of stuff, but then one of the things that goes on is that what winds up happening when you add something in there, such as a graphic. And was the Flash in there initially, or was
No,
it out there from Microm, and then were you like, hey, did you shoot Mike a message saying, hey, is it okay if I do this, or did you just add it and send them both versions? Because adding a Flash might not be that complicated to take in and out if you just send them both versions and you don't feel like you're altering his work too much.
yeah, no, actually, I didn't. This cover I didn't work directly with the mic. I worked with the Zenescope team, and that time I didn't. We didn't. I don't mic Chrome, and I didn't talk to each other. Means we didn't discuss on that cover. Because that time I didn't know him personally or something. Like I got the cover, and then I like this artwork and thing, and I was thinking what things we can do in this, like about the lighting and all. So I did two versions, the one with the flashlight and one without the flashlight. And so we are thinking what is going good with the for the cover, like contrast going contrast, like the orange on the door light coming in, and the blue in the flash. So they choose the blue, that flash one, Zenoscope team. Yeah,
Yeah, no, and I love it because obviously it makes sense that a flash would be there, and it's just a
yeah,
nice little touch to throw in there. And then obviously talking about this one too, and this is
yeah,
cool because this is almost silhouette like, but obviously we get a lot of stuff going
yeah,
on with her, and we get sort of her blacked half out to some degree. And this is obviously the Mad Hatter, and well, see, there's a lot of stuff going on in the audience, and with some people from Wonderland. And this is sort of fun in a lot of ways as well. And I think this was what Eric J did this cover.
This is I have to say that this is so very old covers. All those covers I'm seeing now is so very old covers, and I'm so happy to see them again after the so much long time. I'm seeing this cover. It's like a memory. Yeah, this is very interesting. Like the backlit, almost kind of backlit thing in this. There's bottom lights that the main light source, and then the spotlight other.
Hmm.
The background is more detailed in this than the girl.
Yeah, no, I think this is just a cool
Yeah,
cover
this
because
is
it almost
like opposite thing. Yeah, kind of.
it almost feels like going to a strip club, but there's
Yeah,
no stripping going on with it. And that's how it feels, where we have almost like an asylum strip club feeling to it, if that makes any sense to anybody out there. And it's just like a bizarre cover, but it's so fitting for Wonderland because
yeah,
any cover can work in Wonderland, and it's just wild. And so I love that aspect of it, where I love it's different. And that's something that I think is very cool about this, because this is sort of like that type of thing where it's like, oh, this is very different. And this is a
yeah.
very different
This is very
concept.
different. Yeah, and the light and coloring also very different on this. Like the main part is the like background thing, and
And so
then girl
I
has
think
to stand out. Yeah,
and it's almost like we're looking from backstage onward
yeah,
as well. And that's the other thing that's very cool about this cover. And
yeah.
so obviously I like this cover, but I want to talk about my 2/3 favorite covers that you've done. And it's in the top few of them. And obviously I enjoy Mortal Kombat.
Oh, the deadly. Yeah, deadly.
And
This is
so I couldn't find
Baltimore, I guess. Yeah.
there's three of them. There's
Yeah.
this one, which is I think from the Zen box. There was
Hmm.
a 75 print run, which is also
Okay.
from the Zen box, which is her in green
Hmm.
and might be a little bit more skimpy, but it might not be. I don't remember exactly. It's on my Instagram somewhere. And then obviously there's the blue version of this one, which
Yeah.
is similar to this one, but obviously, um, is less skimpy. This one is the cheapest out of the bunch. That's about 30
Okay.
bucks a day. This one right now, I know because I sold mine for about
Hmm.
$60, which I was super stoked about. And then that 75 print run is $100 plus. And obviously, it's very cool. There's one right now that's a 9.8 graded, going for 200 on eBay. And so, obviously, what's the story behind this? Because Darius laid it out in 2018, New York Comic Con, Mortal Kombat, obviously. Whether I could say that or not, I just did. So, what is the story? Because I love all three of these covers. I had two of them. Obviously, I made good money on them. I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
which
No.
is always nice, I would imagine, for you knowing that your stuff sells well and your colors sell well. So, what was the story behind this? Because
This cover, I like the interesting story is this that actually I went this place in 2019, and I'm so happy that I see this same building in real. I was like amazed. Yeah, I have did this cover on the long time back, and now I'm in front of this building like this aquarium. I love that the story that they send me the reference for the this aquarium. I don't remember the name of that aquarium, but this is in next to the Baltimore Comic Con that time. The it's in
so
the
this
Baltimore.
this
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is the con in the daytime.
yeah. This is the same building as the daytime and then the night version. Yeah,
And so obviously this is this was Baltimore Comic Con's
Comic Con. Yeah,
convention center, and
yeah,
it was
yeah.
in New York's,
Next
right?
to next to that. Yeah, this is there is a submarine behind her, and this is a aquarium. A big aquarium. Yeah, I don't remember the name of aquarium, but this is the aquarium. Yeah, in
And so
Baltimore. Yeah.
obviously though doing Mortal Kombat because I know immediately what this is, and I
Yeah.
love Mortal Kombat. And Mortal Kombat's a very violent video game. In case you didn't
Yeah.
know, it's
Yeah.
very
I
violent.
I I seen. Yeah, but I didn't play. But I see it. I seen.
And
I
so and
like the
so
character and I like costume. Her. Yeah.
and then one of the nice things about Mortal Kombat is that the movie just came out on it, and there's a
Hmm.
resurgence. And obviously, it's kind of nice when you're referencing something and it's at a
Yeah.
Comic Con, and obviously Darius laid it out, and it's sort of cool because now it's popular again, and that people are very excited about this, and getting to do these covers, getting to do three. I don't know if there was a fourth one. I'm not too sure.
Yeah,
There was
yeah. There is I think one more, the orange costume, I guess. Orange or something, yeah.
I know that there's the yellow, the green, the blue. I
Blue,
don't know if
and
there's a fourth one.
yeah,
And
I guess there is a one with orange costume that we did on later on, not at the same time, but after a few months or something, we did the orange one also. Yeah, I guess I'm not sure, but I think we did orange one also.
and so obviously I love it. And if there isn't an orange one, I'm gonna shoot Dave an email and we'll sort this
Yeah,
out.
sure, sure, sure.
And this is where your and my career goes down the hill, right from here. But anyway, I'm sure Dave will get on it right immediately. Who
Yeah.
knows? He's even watching right now for all I know. Anyway, anyhow, kidding aside, obviously, what is that like though? Because this is an exclusive book. I think this one has 250 or 350. This one obviously has 150, and then
Okay.
the green version has 75. And
Okay.
having super limited, and Zenescope has a lot of fans, so having books that are super limited that were in a Zen box, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's one of those things that like it is super, super, super,
Super exclusive. Yeah.
hard to get. And I got mine. So the story about mine is that they were getting rid of their New York Comic Con Zen boxes, and I made a real quick bid for it for $100. Took a big risk on it, and I got those two covers, and I loved them for a while.
Cool.
And so obviously I didn't even know it was your cover because I didn't know it was in the Zen box. And it was my second Zen
Mm-hmm.
box, and I knew it was great, and I was super stoked for it. And people were very upset because, and Chris Sampson, who works for Zenescope, was like, "Oh man, it's video game related." I'm like, "This is awesome," and I had a pretty good idea that whatever I was going to get in it is going to be good because it's a Zen box, and Zen boxes
Mm-hmm.
are very good for the most part. So obviously, I loved it, and I thought it was great, and I still think it's great. So obviously, I love those covers, and I think they're really nice for
Yeah.
you to have done in that regard. And they're some of my favorite work. It's on my Instagram, so I get to look at them all the time. And I made a lot of money on them. I'm not going to
No.
pretend. I made a
Cool.
lot of money on them, and it was very profitable, for lack of a
Great.
better
Great.
word. So obviously that's something that's very cool. But I do want to get out of Wonderland as much as I love
Yeah.
Wonderland, and I want to talk about Hellchild because I like Hellchild too, and I
Okay.
believe this is Sean.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a very nice cover. Yeah, this is like I'm so happy that seeing the old covers again after a long time. Yeah, this is interesting cover. Yeah.
So for me, I'm going to say this very nicely. I think the Hellchild is okay in this. I think the background is phenomenal. I think this is some of your best background work you've done because
Thank
it
you so much.
just feels so much like a city and it feels real, and I feel like I know where that is, even though I don't know
Yeah.
where it is. If that
No.
makes any
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. I like doing lighting. Like when I get this cover, I didn't. They didn't told me to do any. They give me freedom to do whatever light you want in this. Only the follow the costume, just that thing. And then I was thinking what kind of light we can play with it and what can do. So I thought uh, it's nice to give a backlit kind of sunset kind of thing because the buildings are going to collapse and the bridges collapse, all thing like a post-apocalypse thing. So I was going to do that like dull, front of person dull and the background is little bit bright kind of. So I like this composition, like doing the light and
I
also.
love it. I love it, and I love the fact that I know where this is. And
Yeah,
I don't know where it is in reality, but I feel like I
yeah,
know where it is, and that
yeah.
actually means something. And that's why I said I think the background on this is phenomenal. And then obviously let's talk about this cover too, because
Oh yeah,
this one is, I believe, a Billy Tucci.
yeah,
And so what was this like? Because this is the exact opposite of cover 5,
Yeah.
where your colors
Right.
on
Right.
her are phenomenal. I think the
Yeah.
fact that like her weapon is cool, and I think that you really capture who Hellchild is and Angela
Yeah.
Blackstone is and all that stuff, and I think it's awesome on this, and I think it's really nice. And I also
Yeah.
like how like the fire is sort of cutting into a little bit of her weapon, and it's got that translucent, lucent feel to it. And she's just sitting on the skulls, and it's just so Hellchild-esque, if you will.
Yeah. I like like again in this also they told me only for the like Dave and all the Zenescope team, they told me only for the follow the costume, and again do whatever you like to do. Like then I thought maybe we'll give some like fire thing and the spark a little bit and to the dimension, give a little bit depth like the fire behind it and the like shine on the or her weapon kind of. This is then again kind of the interesting to play with it. Like it's quite simple, but we can have a depth in there.
And then I also just love
Yeah,
her hair. I love the black
yeah,
and the
yeah.
red
Black
shine
and
in
the
her
red,
hair.
yeah, yeah,
It's
shine, yeah,
very, very, very nice because it's sort of like highlighting her hair and all that stuff.
yeah,
So I love it, and it's a great cover for Hellchild. So
yeah.
that's
Thanks so
kind of
much.
what I love too. And then obviously more talking about Hellchild and
Yeah,
this one's fun. It just
yeah.
is.
I like this one also. Yeah, it's like the orange moon and thing. Yeah,
And so I like that. I like how it's action. I like what she's doing, and
mm,
I enjoy this cover a lot. And I also like this cover where this is extremely iconic, and this
yeah,
one's cool as well. And obviously, this is Silva. Obviously, and then there's one more I want to talk about in a second here. But obviously, this is very cool, and this is a very iconic cover in a lot of ways, and it's very, very topical right now.
yeah. Yeah, I like because this I get the feeling from this city like the center part of like glowing behind her, and then the all the dead bodies next to her, and she is standing tall in the center with on the taxi, and like in this I like playing with the shadow and light and like backlit and front lit.
This
I
this
like
cover
doing lighting. Yeah,
this cover feels very much like Resident Evil, either the
yeah,
end of
like
Resident Evil 1 or the beginning of Resident Evil 2. That's what this cover feels like because we have a cop car and Alice comes out in the movie, and that's what
yeah,
this feels like. And then I don't know if Alice stands on a cop car, but it feels very much like that, where it's like,
yeah.
oh, this is sort of cool. And that's how this feels, and it's great, and I love it. Which it's a really cool cover. It's very iconic. You sort of know what's going on, and well, all hell broke loose.
Yeah. Playing with the light. Love always playing with the light. So when I seen this like this kind of covers, I get so much chance to play with light, like backlit and front lit. I like doing that stuff.
And I love it.
It's
And
interesting
I
thing.
think I
Yeah.
think it's just and what I like about Zenescope because this is not an exclusive. This is not limited, and
Okay.
it's a really cool cover. And it's really cool when Zenescope says, "Hey, we're just going to throw out a cover B, C, or D to you," and it actually is really good art. And so this is something that I love that they did with this cover. And I think it's awesome versus something like this, which is, I think you did
Oh
this.
yeah. 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 Yeah.
This is the postcard set that they were doing. And obviously this is C2E2. Ali Garza did this.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so it's obviously very sexy. It's Hellchild in a very sexy way on a rock with Chicago being in the
Like
background.
billboard thing kind of.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
obviously it's postcard esque, and it's a very, very, very cool cover in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. It's very limited. I think there's 250 of these, maybe
Oh, okay.
350 at the most, and it's an awesome cover to have. It's a cool cover to put up. It's fun, and obviously it's a very sexy Hell Child.
Yeah. I like her costume. Yeah.
And so I like it. And I
Yeah,
love how she's wearing something very, very sexy.
yeah,
You know, may or may not be appropriate to fight in.
yeah. Right.
And so obviously that's what's going on with that. But I do want to talk about Robin Hood briefly. And I know you've done a bunch of stuff on Robin Hood, and I want to throw
Yeah,
this
I did.
out because this is Van
Yeah,
Helsing
just
Robin
yeah, yeah,
Hood.
right.
I believe this is Robin Hood I Love New York. Obviously, Robin Hood and Van Helsing are frenemies in a lot of ways, and a lot of stuff happens between the two of them. No, not that, everybody. I want to make that perfectly clear. That hasn't happened yet. I know what everybody's thinking. It has not happened yet. Um, I've been putting in, and I'll happily write it for free for Zenescope if they want me to, but it hasn't happened yet. But anyway, obviously, there's a lot of cool stuff going with this. So, what was this like? Because you're drawing and got the color. You didn't draw it, but you got the color two of Zenescope's most profitable characters in
Yeah,
many ways.
right. I like Robin Hood. Yeah, her costume. Like I did Vanishing so many time and Robin Hood also, and doing the both in the same cover like fun to do. Yeah, because the giving both them different lights. Like Robin Hood had the most of the backlit kind of thing, and the Vanishing has a frontal kind of thing. I like doing this time stuff, like going giving light from the different angles, and the
And
both
then,
character
and
I
then,
love it. Yeah,
and then even going further with Robin Hood, this right here, and this is just
yeah,
this is an awesome, awesome, awesome cover in many
right.
ways. I mean, that green is just so rich in so many
Yeah,
ways. And
yeah,
obviously, I mean that is almost like neon green
yeah,
popping off, and it's a crazy cover. And I don't even know the story behind this cover because it is a wild cover.
yeah. This is like she's in the jungle in a hand hunting something, and the light is coming from the top, from the trees, under the like you can see the rays and all, like a little bit backlit kind of thing. So like this is interesting to do that. Like the shadows on the tree, her shadows, and like the tree shadow on her, and all everything. The playing with the shadows and this light and shadows. This is interesting stuff.
And then also talking about interesting covers, you got to do another EBAS,
Yeah,
and
yeah. This
I
is
love this EBAS.
yeah.
Obviously, I don't know how far you know about Zenescope, but obviously this cover, the nude version of it, CGC 9.8 Zenescope sells for about
Oh,
$500. So really
cool.
expensive. Obviously, the Eagles won the Super Bowl, and obviously, it's their champs. She's flicking everybody off because nobody believed them that they would do it. Holding the football trophy. It's the Eagles are the champions at this point, and very cool. And this is the curse. So obviously, this is an EBAS. There's a nude version of this, and then on top of that, there's also the idea that this was on a beer glass they did and like a
Yeah,
pint
bear glass
they
in.
did as
Yeah.
well. And so really, really cool one that they have. And so I love this cover. I have a copy of this cover.
Oh,
I
cool.
spent $25 for it, worth every penny of it, which is right on par what it should be worth. And it's a great cover in a lot of ways. And I know that Chazus did another cover depicting the Eagles winning. And so what is that like though to get to do something very cool because Zenescope's located in Philadelphia, and
Okay.
so that's why this cover is super important.
Cool.
If you ever want to get on, Ralph and Joe's good side, just say, "Yep, the Eagles are a great team and they're going to win the Super Bowl every year," and you'll be good to go.
Okay. I like this cover has so much skin, and Eva's anatomy is great to play with it for colors. And like in this particular cover, I can say like the skin and the shine on the trophy. It's a cool combination to do that.
Yeah, no, I love it, and I love her
Yeah,
hair. I love also the fact that she's flicking somebody off.
yeah,
Like, I'm sorry, but it's nice to have a cover that isn't PG. It's nice to have a cover. Obviously, we have her under boob showing, but even going beyond that, we have it skinny. She's obviously very sexy. She's in very skimpy shorts, but it's nice to have a character basically flicking somebody off where I think it's kind of funny, and I think it's kind of like, yeah, we did it type of attitude,
Yeah.
and it's got an attitude to it. This
Showing
cover
fingers.
that goes beyond sexy, and so and also her face and just everything about this, and then the colors are just very much eagle green, and it's very cool. And I also like the fact that it's just her, the trophy, and the
Yeah.
background is just sort of black and gray,
Yeah.
gradient too, which is very
Yeah,
cool.
in this cover, this is quite simple cover. So I wanted to give a little simpler background, so we can focus on her only on her body, like her skin and the trophy. So I didn't did much on the background. I did little bit dull and the subtle background for this.
And so I
Yeah,
like the fact that it's that because it's about
yeah,
her, not about the
yeah,
back, and
yeah,
that's very nice. And versus a cover like this, which is way more about what's going on in
yeah,
the background
yeah.
and
This is kind of like action thing. Yeah,
and so
it is.
so so I just want to throw that out there. And then obviously jump into another exclusive. And since it's
Oh
summertime,
yeah.
football, this is
This
Dawn
is one
Matee
of my favorite. Yeah, this is
or
one of my
Matee,
favorite cover. Yeah, right.
and Dawn's been on twice to this
Oh,
show.
cool.
And so I love
Great.
her. And obviously we got
Yeah.
Van Helsing with the glasses, so she's not necessarily wearing her goggles, but she's got
Yeah.
blue and
It-
red
Red.
sunglasses.
Yeah.
Got Robin. Obviously, Van Helsing's in a red bikini. Robin's in a green bikini. Obviously, sort of attire and all that stuff. So, and they're on a beach, and Robin's holding a football. And
Yeah.
so, very, very cool cover. And so, what was this like? Because this is fun.
This
And then there's also a
this
nude
one
version.
this cover also has a version. They're like evening or night kind something like and the daylight thing. This
Mm-hmm.
cover also. Yeah. I like
And,
doing that lighting on these covers. Yeah.
and then,
Because I like.
obviously, I love it. This screams summer.
Yeah.
That's what this screams. This screams summer, and it's
Yeah.
nice and it's fun, and it's just one of those things that says, "Hey, summertime." And what I
Yeah.
like is that also, and I can't show the other version of it because it's nude. It's at
Nude. Yeah.
nighttime, and that's very cool as well. And it's very similar. It's
Yeah.
very playful. It's the idea that this is a very playful cover also, and so I love the fact that this is there, and so it's very cool these covers, and they're very fun with
Yeah,
this.
I loved Dawn's line work. Yeah, she did a
And
great
so
job. Yeah.
I love that. And then obviously I do want to go backwards for 1 second and talk about this cover because we missed
Oh,
it. And this is, I
this
think,
is
some of
quite
your best work.
a recent cover. Yeah, quite like 1 year before or something. 2 years, I think. 2 years before. Yeah, Michael
And so
DePascal.
and
Yeah,
so
yeah,
obviously Michael D. Pascal was on
Yeah,
Tuesday.
yeah,
And he was talking
uh,
about this when he sent it to you. And he colors everything except his Zenescope work. And he almost exclusively only works with you. And
yeah.
so, what was this entire cover like? Because he spoke about it. I'm not going to tell you what he said
Oh,
because and so what was this like? Because sort of, I'll tease a little bit about what he said. Actually, he was saying, "Hey, I don't know if we should have thrown so much things in there with it." And Sanju really went above and beyond with it, and it really works with what's going on with it. So, what was this like when somebody throws a lot of stuff at you in a cover?
yeah, like I love Mike's Dipacal's work. Sorry, I sorry to pronounce it wrongly. Mike's work. Yeah. So when I seen this line work, I was thinking only on the figure, and then I was thinking to do the background little bit subtle, not too much lights on in lighting or not too much dimension in the background. So I was thinking more on the figure. So I was thinking what kind of lighting we can put. So we have so much thing to play in this cover. If I do so much lighting in the background, then the figure will get little bit disturbed. So I was thinking to keep it background little bit subtle, little bit behind her and not much detail in the background, kind of, and the shadows coming on her, tree shadows coming on her, and the crocodile shadow coming on her. So I was like playing on that like kind of a shadow and the light, It's really fun to do.
And then obviously that was phenomenal. And now I do want to jump into Van
Yeah,
Helsing since we just took a detour and we were speaking about
yeah,
Robin Hood, and obviously I do want to talk
yeah.
about Van Helsing,
Cool, cool, cool.
and obviously sticking with Darius here.
Yeah,
This is just a wild one,
yeah. This
and
is
this is a regular cover too. It's crazy. It is super super interesting. I just picked up a bunch of these. I picked up like five of them for $1, about a month ago, which is because Zenescope was having a sale, and obviously this
okay.
is sort of heaven, and so really cool book in a lot of ways, and really 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 savage colors because we get a vampire-esque Van Helsing with the things, obviously very casual, almost biker jacket, and we had all
Yeah,
those like ruffles and that stuff, and she looks really tough in this.
yeah, yeah. But this is again the I love Darley's compositions and line work. Yeah, this is kind of like a simple cover, like not much thing, too much thing, but the simple like the simple background and simple moon, and then her body and the detail jacket on something like that. So like it is interesting to do like little bit simple background and the detail in the front figure and all, like the shine on the jacket and her red costume.
And then to even go further into Van Helsing, obviously this is
Yeah, this is again
another good one by
Michael De
Mike.
Pascal. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And this one is just wild to the point where this is sort of heaven as well, and
Yeah,
really cool. And again, this is just a covers B, C, or D, or it might be even cover A. I'm not sure what cover number it is, but obviously it is just a regular cover. It's issue 5, and it's kind of crazy because she's just sitting on a sandbank,
yeah,
and we have a lot of her sort of front and center. And
yeah,
what was this like for you to draw slash color?
yeah, yeah. This is like a sunset kind of thing. And then there I was thinking on the this is again I was thinking what kind of light we can give on this. So I was same thing with this also. I was doing wanted to do little bit opposite on the background, like orange or red in the her costume and her skin, and I want to give little bit blue or something on the background. So I like different like contrast thing in this, and the lighting is light different, like light coming from the little bit from downside, not from direct top light kind of thing.
And then sticking with
Yeah,
Mike here, talking about this one also.
yeah.
And
This is interesting
supposedly
goal.
there was supposed to be smoke like sort of popping out above, and that you guys had to change the background, or he had to change the background to be more of a city. And I personally love the city element of it. I think that doing smoke would have taken away,
Oh,
because we
okay.
have her leaning on a cane, or like a stick. She's sort of popping her butt out a little bit, and she's
Hmm.
looking mighty fine, I must say. And the city is a nice background, and it really brings her front and center in a lot of
Yeah,
ways. This is League of Monsters, and I might want to go buy this cover now because I love this cover, and I think it's awesome. And obviously, coloring it is super cool because we have Van Helsing, but this is another one of those things where I think the background brings it into context. And actually, she might not even be using a cane. She might just be leaning on a railing now that I look at it. And I look at it again. But it's the idea that we have, her sort of, and we have layers into the cover.
yeah. Like this cover has a like when I seen this cover, first of all I like Mike DePascal line work because it's like really simple and the proportionate lines. So you don't have to much do much on the light or something. You can simple get what kind of light you can do, and like a straight light I can give it on this. So I
I,
don't
I,
have
I
to.
also
Yeah.
I also like his work because it's not too busty. And that sounds
Yeah, right.
crazy.
That's the point. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure you and I both know that Zenescope is good girl art, and that
yeah.
he goes all in, and a few
Yeah,
other artists go all in. Mike DeBaffo goes all in, and I'm not
yeah,
complaining. I'm a healthy
yeah. Yeah,
heterosexual
they
male,
have everyone has their own style. Yeah,
but the idea
like
is
that. Yeah,
that Mike definitely sort of tames it a little bit. And he was saying that Zenescope asked him to do that, and so I like the fact that it's not overly. out there, and that we just get to see a very, very, very attractive, Van Helsing doing what she does in this position. And obviously, it's very cool. And we're going to come back to Mike in 1 second, but I do want to talk about one more book from, I think it's League of Monsters as well. Or no, it's Daughter of Dracula,
No.
and it's this book here. And this is a crazy one, and I think Rivera did this cover.
Dracula's daughter. Yeah, it's nice.
And so this is kind of cool because we get a very, very, very interesting Van Helsing going on, and we get some crazy stuff going on, and we get a really cool scene. And I like how the background
Yeah,
is
it's a,
more front and
from
center.
purple
Yeah.
to orange, yellow. Yeah,
The moon's in the background. It goes from purple to lighter purple to yellow, and then we get
yeah,
that scene going on, and we get definitely a very, very cool scene happening in
yeah.
this cover. And so I do want to highlight that.
Yeah, this is the main point. Like working with Zenescope, yeah, they give you so much freedom to do what you want. Like they only ask you for the stick with the costume color or something, and then again they give you full freedom to do what kind of light you want to do, what kind of background colors you want to do. I think that's the thing I like most doing Zenescope covers.
And what is that like? Because obviously I got a commission by Elias Chazuz, and
Oh,
I'm trying to
cool.
get Zenescope to actually make it into a cover because it's an
Mm-hmm.
amazing commission, and it did like 10,000 likes on Instagram in like a week, which is phenomenal for a
Great.
commission. And Chazuz was all concerned about it, which is even funnier. So I don't know if you know Elias, but really, really funny. He was all concerned about it. I was not concerned. I said, do your thing, because I'm not going to tell an artist how to do something. I give them my concept, and I'm like, hey, here's what I want.
Yeah.
Beyond that concept, it's yours to play with. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't tell somebody how to do something much like, somebody shouldn't tell me how to run what I run in my business, in my eBay business.
Yeah.
Okay, my point is that what is that like? That Zenescope says, hey, we need sort of this concept, but you have complete freedom on the other 80% of it to say, hey, a purple background works here, going into a more pink background into a yellow, versus
Mm-hmm.
we need a purple, pink, yellow background.
Yeah.
What is that like? Because I would imagine that it is better for you when you have more freedom.
Yeah, right.
It's
That's
the
it.
idea that you say,
Yeah,
okay, I now can do what I need to do, and
mm-hmm.
nobody's telling me what to do, and I'm not confined in a box.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like they give the line work file, then they give you a reference for the characters. And that's it. And if they ask if you have any question, you can ask them. Then if I want to ask, like if I want something more references from them, I can ask them. Like they give you the like what kind of if it is a daylight, if it is a night light or something like evening something, or they give you a freedom like oh if stick with the night or stick with the daylight, and then you have to think on what kind of light you want to do, or like what kind of background color you want to do, and you can after that you can send them, and they will tell you if this is the approve or they want some little bit changes on there. But most of the point time they don't ask so much changes. They go with that, yeah, like what the video, and I like the freedom from them.
And then sticking with freedom here, and I want to get back to Mike now because that's where we're going to probably most likely end up.
Yeah,
Obviously this cover is amazing in so many ways. I was speaking with him about it, and what I said to him is I love the stairs and the outline on the stairs up top towards the six up top for everybody where I'm looking.
yeah,
The fact that it's Dracula's flag is in there.
yeah,
The fact that we get those stairs sort of towards the, I guess, right of Hellchild. We get the desk, we get papers on the desk, and we get all that line work and all that stuff. And obviously, you colored
yeah,
all of this. So, what was this like? And also the different whites and the different,
yeah.
castle oriented and the different wood grain and the shine to the wood. And what was this like? Because obviously, this can be easy to color, or it could be a
No, no.
goddamn.
This one is quite difficult because of the background. But I like doing like giving costumes shine, that her the leather thing, leather pants and all. I like doing that too. The the background is not that difficult, but like little bit. details. Yeah, it has a little bit detail other than the different cover. Like it has a white, little bit white background, then the wood, all the wood table and stairs and all. Like this is little bit detailed cover. But I like her costume more, and so that's what the this cover is interesting to do colors.
Yeah, I like her costume a lot in this
Yeah,
also.
yeah. I
I
like
really
that
focus on.
leather thing. Yeah,
I love it. I love the shine to it. I also find that this costume definitely fits her more as a
yeah.
character. I don't know how familiar you are with Hellchild as
Mm,
the comics, and I'm now starting to read them, which is really
yeah,
bad. I should probably not admit that, but I'm now starting to say, well, she looks more like a badass in
yeah,
leather and in this outfit, and this is way more fitting than something of her in something skimpy or the other things that sometimes are put on covers with her. And so I think that this is so much more fitting for her. And I also think that this is just an amazing cover. And even going deeper into it, like the flag and it's
yeah.
Dracula's flag. I mean, we're talking
Right.
about Van Helsing's a vampire hunter. It makes complete sense that this would be out
Yeah,
there. So
right.
obviously, I love this. And then obviously, I want to talk about this, and we're about to get controversial. So this is the
Ah,
most interesting story that apparently came out. I'm sure I'm going to get in trouble. I'm sure you're going to get in trouble for it, and we're going to talk about it anyway. So
so
Mike
you,
D.
Mike
Pascal,
Pascal told you something behind story behind this cover?
he told it
He,
on Tuesday, but you should tell it again because people need to
yeah.
know it. 'Cause it's a great
So,
story. But let me tell a prefix to the story.
uh,
Mike D. Pascal is a former Marine.
yeah, right, right.
So now you can tell the rest of the
Yeah.
story 'cause this is the Marine cover.
So,
So
see, when I got this cover, I didn't had much reference like for costume, and even the Zenescope team has not much detail on this costume. They also don't know much detail about this costume. And the main thing there is because Mike DePascal is from Marine, so he knows the what the pant color exactly and what the sword looks like or sword material is exactly. So when I did the cover, I did pant a little different color, and the sword that the wood part is like a brown wood something, and I show it to Mike, and then he said, "Oh man, there has to be so much changes because he then told me that he is from Marine and he sent me proper reference for what kind of sword is that. That the ivory white the handle, and then the her pant color is the red strip and the blue, and then we changed it, and I sent again to the Zenoscope team, and then this cover is get finalized.
so so
Thanks to
so
Mike DePascal. Yeah,
I'm assuming that usually for most covers, if you did a wooden sword and
yeah,
you did different pants, it wouldn't matter.
yeah.
But every once in a while, something has to be changed, especially with Army things. I used to work in DC on veteran issues, so
Oh,
I know the
cool.
colors. Also, so I'm very familiar with it. I used to, advocate and do legislation in DC with veteran education. So obviously, I know all the colors and I know all this stuff, and I love these covers. I love,
Yeah,
that. Obviously, I loved when Zenescope had a partnership with Wounded Warrior. I thought it was very cool in that regard. But obviously, I'm assuming that a lot of the time, you picking a color would not be an issue. It's
yeah,
just that in this circumstance,
yeah,
it could have gone very badly if somebody
yeah,
didn't catch it, and it would have
yeah.
been
Right,
offensive in a lot of ways. And it's very
right.
important
No,
to
if you
make sure.
if you search on the Google for the like marine costume, you can see so many different kind of costume. You can see. Then you don't know exactly which costume is for the particular marine thing. So
I'm
then there,
sure
yeah,
that the people in which they lucked out,
yeah, yeah,
Zenescope on that one,
mm-hmm.
undeniably. And
Yeah,
it's this idea that, when you're dealing with army stuff, it is
yeah,
much more complicated.
yeah. It's like
And
quite a responsibility to stick with the color.
And
Yeah,
so and so obviously, it just so happened that he was a Marine, that he knew.
yeah,
It
yeah.
just so happened that he's like,
And
hey,
he
heads
sent me
up.
exact reference for the sword and for the pant and all. He sent me exact reference what they want, what he want. And then
And so
though actually the deadline was that same day, and then he sent me, and again I did and quickly, and I resend it to the Zenescope team, and thankfully we did it on the time before the print run.
And so obviously that is very important. And the
Yeah,
reason why I bring this up is that it's
yeah,
sort of funny,
thankfully, yeah,
but it's also important that it's done correctly at the
yeah,
same time because it does make a big difference in that. And obviously, when you're doing military stuff, it is
yeah,
super
right.
important to be accurate. And obviously, throwing up another military cover here, this one's cool too.
This is Mike Chromes, yeah,
And so I love this one because we have her. She's carrying a big gun. Obviously, I'm not exactly sure what character this is, um, but she's sitting on sandbags. It's obviously cut out star as sort of a background, and it's a very, very cool cover because
yeah. It's
you
like
have.
a vintage poster kind of thing. Like this has, yeah, I feel like a vintage poster.
And so I really like this cover
Yeah,
a lot of
I
ways, and I
like it.
think
Yeah.
it's a 100 print run, I want to say, or it's a 150 print run. It's a
Okay.
very, very cool cover in the idea that it's military at San Diego Comic Con. Obviously, Mike Chrome. This is
Yeah.
definitely some of Mike Chrome's, classic Mike Chrome.
Hmm.
Obviously, making the army sexy again is a good way to put it. And so I love this cover that my
Yeah.
Chrome did with you, and I think the covers and even just the army and being appropriate to the army and keeping it in those army sandbag colors and keeping the background the way it was and keeping army
Yeah.
camouflage makes a big difference and goes a long way when doing covers like this.
Yeah. Right.
And then obviously I want to talk about maybe four more covers and a frisbee, which is fascinating. So obviously I want to talk about this one real quick, and
Yeah.
it's a little bit old school.
This is
Uh,
old school. Yeah. This is old cover. Yeah. Right.
this is obviously swimsuit Baywatch. You
Baywatch
know,
theme. Yeah.
very very cool. I don't know if there was a naughty version of this one as well, but obviously this is like super old school, 2012. And
Yeah.
then obviously going a little bit more new school with Mike again.
Yeah.
You do stuff like this, which is always fun as well. And it's the swimsuit edition. And I know that you've also contributed to the swimsuit editions as well for
Yeah.
pinup stuff. And obviously they recycle covers, and they also sometimes have new art, and that's
Yeah.
cool. And then another thing out there is this as well. And this was
Yeah.
on the Christmas card that they send out to all their VIPs. And so that's
Oh.
super cool in that regard. So what is that like to do these specials and do swimsuits and sexy, holiday pinup stuff and obviously the Christmas special and the Halloween specials and all that stuff, because it is cool to do that stuff and it attracts certain people and to get to work on a cover and also contribute to them and just do like a quick pinup or color a pinup.
No, I like doing pinups actually, and I like the pinup styles a lot. I like old school pinup so much. And then this kind of I did I think 2 3 pinup books also for Zenoscope, like complete book like interiors with interiors, and I like the pinup figures. Yeah, so really that's like quite simple to do the work, like the only the figure and a little bit simpler background, but that's interesting to do pinups kind of stuff. And the special is also like seasonal, like the Christmas theme or like the beach theme or something like party theme. Yeah, I like doing that. That has so much to play with lights and the colors.
I love Zenescope specials and then
Yeah,
everything they do with that. And then obviously, I don't know what's going on with this, but right now you can buy a frisbee.
yeah. This
And
is the recent cover. Yeah,
and so right now I know the frisbee's available. I don't know when this is going to be released as a cover because I don't think that it was released as a cover yet. It may or
okay.
may not happen tonight. I don't know. Zenescope obviously has a stream tonight. We're heading into summer. It might be released more for San Diego Comic Con. I'm
Mhm.
sure that you know more than I do, if you know at all. But obviously, Zenescope is going to do something with this because I don't think this was released yet as a comic cover. But I know it's available as a frisbee for $29.99 at
Okay.
Zenescope.com. So you can go buy your frisbee now. But what's the story
Yeah.
behind this artwork? Because obviously Van Helsing in a
No, this
swimsuit.
is this one actually we did as a cover only, and I also got to know 2 3 days before that this is going to be This is the frisbee also. There is I saw on the Twitter only that this is a frisbee special going on. So I like that because I don't know when the cover is going to release, but I'm sure there will be cover also.
Because I think the cover
Yeah,
wasn't released, from my
yeah,
understanding.
yeah,
I would be aware of it. I don't remember seeing it. I'm obviously very active with looking at Zenescope,
yeah.
and so that's just something that I haven't seen as a cover, unless I completely missed it, and unless because I know that only Mike has been working for Zenescope since 2017, 2018 at this point, and obviously I haven't seen this as a cover yet, but I've seen the
Okay.
frisbee, and so it's very very cool to that degree. Also, if they're going to release it as a cover, it definitely seems more like an exclusive play than anything else
Hmm.
because obviously summer, and so I don't know what's going on with that. And at that point, obviously that's sort of what's happening. And then the final cover I want to talk about is this cover, and obviously Sister
Oh
Mercy,
yeah, this is
because
Sister Mercy.
Corey
Yeah,
Hardyman, I know Corey Hardyman, I know
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
this is Ricardo Silva, I know that
Yeah, I
also
did two covers for him. Yeah,
you
the
did one
one
with
with
Mike Chrome
Micron.
for
Yeah, yeah,
issue three,
Ricardo. Yeah,
and I
yeah,
backed
right.
that, and I have that
Oh, cool.
downstairs, and that one was good, and I enjoy Mike Chrome's artwork, and I enjoy
Yeah,
Corey, and then
yeah. This is
obviously,
the on the top. You can see the Micron one on this cover. The top part, the girl holding.
yeah,
You can see. Yeah, yeah. That's the one cover. Yeah, and the second one is the center. Yeah.
and so obviously this is a very cool cover. It's
Yeah.
obviously nude. It's obviously take on Paul Anderson's cover, which is cover B. Obviously Corey was on about a week ago, and
Oh.
so very very cool with his stuff that's going on. And so you've done two. Obviously, where Sister Mercy is going to be very very interesting. Obviously, I'm sure that if he's funded, I believe for everything that he's doing, and he's out of Facebook jail now. I don't know if you saw that, which was sort of funny. And he knows I'm going to make fun of him a little bit for it. But the idea is that what is this like to get to work on indie books? Because you've worked on Lady Death and you worked on a bunch of other stuff. But getting to do
Yeah,
Kickstarter and
yeah,
coloring Kickstarter books and getting to do something outside of Zenescope, and obviously indie comics are really hot right now.
no, yeah. First of all, I like line work most of the time. The first line work and the characters. I like doing. I whenever I see pencil work from the artist, I get amazed by them. The line work. I respect all the artists, the like who does line work and all, because I know how much difficult to do the line work and all. And so then I get covers. I don't think much on the story and all behind this. I think on the first of the I think on the light and the dimensions and the colors. What can I give the light and all, and that's the thing. I don't much know about behind the stories of the covers really. Yeah. So I enjoy the line work first, and then I start thinking on the colors.
And then even
Yeah.
going further, because it is interesting, because obviously you've done so much work for Zenescope,
Hmm.
and obviously it must be nice to some degree to say, hey, I'm doing something outside of Zenescope. As much as I love Zenescope,
Yeah.
doing something for something like Sister Mercy that is very much outside the box in
Yeah.
their covers and working with different artists. And getting to work with Mike Chrome on a project that isn't Van Helsing or Robin Hood, but is more of an original character design. I would
Hmm.
imagine that it's enjoyable to you to say, okay, we're now getting to play with a bunch of new characters and getting to do something and getting to color a schizophrenic nun versus having to do Robin Hood. And also, as an artist and as a colorist and as a person in comics, it must be nice to sort of take a break from something that is similar. And I know Zenescope tells you a bunch of stuff, and nothing is the same in Zenescope with your covers for the
Yeah.
most part. Even still,
Yeah.
it must be nice also to have your name out on Kickstarter because it's another exposure, and Kickstarter
Yeah.
is
Right.
killing it now. For
Yeah.
just
Right.
exposure reasons, just being on a Kickstarter project carries a lot of weight. I mean, I think Sister Mercy for issue three, had like 250 backers, and that's 250 people who obviously now picked up a cover that you colored. that might not know you otherwise. And
Yeah.
I think issue 4 is doing better than issue 3 did right
Okay.
now, and he's almost at $15,000 with a lot of
Good.
backers, and so more people are seeing, and so it's kind of nice for somebody might say, "Oh, Sanju, I recognize that name from something
Yeah.
else." So obviously, how does that make you feel? Now I know
Yeah.
you don't read the stories, but just from even just getting outside of the box a little bit.
Yeah, no, I like the like doing the working with different artists, and because everyone has their own style, every publisher has their own thought on the covers and all. So I get more to learn from them, like what stuff I can do, the what can I improve in my colors and all. So I like always doing with the different artists, working on different artists, and all the artists, their suggestions and their inputs on the cover. So I like doing these stuff, like Zenescope stuff or the or other individual artists. I like doing that.
And then obviously, I want to back out of comics for a second here. And I am curious because I'm in America. I'm in the East Coast. I'm in Connecticut. I used to live in
Okay.
DC. I moved out of DC, moved to
Okay.
Connecticut. So I moved up north. And obviously, in the United States, conventions have been messed up for about 18 months. Things are starting to come back. It's very interesting. I don't really know how it's going, obviously. And I don't know how India is as far as Comic Cons, what the scene looks like, what it looks like in the country, and how is that going on, and how have you been affected? Because I know that the comic world also sort of shut down for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you were affected because Zenescope sort of geared up in a lot of ways.
Yeah. No, it's, yeah. I my 100% work is going with the USA based comics, and a little bit with the Australian comics. The most of the comics I work I on from with the American comics like Zenescope and USA based all the comics work. And in India, we don't have much in the comics, like not like we have very much uh, just like a mythological theme or something, but not like so much variety in the comic world in India. And Comic Con also not happening so much in India, like one or two things only, and there is no much comic stores or something in India. So comic thing is not big in India, right? Yeah. So there is not big kind of comic scopes in India. Yeah. So most all the completely work with the only USA based comic.
And obviously,
Yeah.
it's all
Yeah.
digital, which has helped
Yeah.
tremendously.
Yeah.
5 years
Right.
ago,
Yeah.
10
Yeah.
years ago, this would have been a nightmare. If
Yeah.
if you had to like send it and post offices are all messed up, it
Yeah.
would have
Right.
been a nightmare.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so obviously with email and able to send it, and obviously Zenescope sells a lot directly to customers right now with a lot of
Hmm.
exclusives. Obviously that is very, very advantageous to you. And obviously you color digitally, I imagine. And so that
Yeah.
also helps also in a lot of ways. And so obviously you are in probably the best time to be a colorist where,
Yeah.
someone sends them to you and then you just send it to, Zenescope directly and then they have it and then, you guys can
Yeah.
communicate relatively in
Yeah,
real
like
time.
yeah, that's why I mostly work at the night, because my all the clients are from USA, and so I work in the night because that time is the best for my to me to communicate with the clients and all, get replies from them, approvals for cover, and if the approval cover is approved or if the cover has any small kind of changes, I can do it right away and then send it back to them. If I work in the day, then there is a problem because I get message from client at the night and I see in the day, and then I work on in a day and send it back, and again they will check in the next day. Like it will be a long process then. So I most of the time I work in the night time.
And then even going forward, I mean, I'm sure I could talk to you for the next like 5 hours easily about everything, but I do want to let you go to get back to work here. But I am curious, and maybe not even curious, but obviously I do want to give you an opportunity to promote yourself. So where can people find you? Where can people check out your work? Where can people support your work? where can people
Yeah.
pick up stuff that you colored and that you're working on. And obviously, I want people to support you. I don't know if you have a Twitter, Instagram, Facebook
Yeah, I
page.
have. Yeah, you can share my Twitter link or my Instagram link. I'm not much active on the Twitter, but I'm active on the Instagram and Facebook most of the, and Devant a little bit. Not much, but to those two things like Instagram and Facebook, I use them most for my share my work and all. So my on the Instagram and the Facebook, you can find me like Sanju.n84. Sanju.n84. You can find me on that Instagram page or Facebook page.
And then obviously you have a bunch of stuff coming out with Zenescope. Obviously you already had a bunch of stuff coming out.
Yeah.
I think you just had a book that dropped, I think like a week and a half ago, the Hercules Scorpion Queen book that you might have colored for Michael. And so obviously a lot of your work is
Yeah.
being colored. That Frisbee is out for those
Yeah.
who are interested. So obviously, buying stuff from Zenescope directly and indirectly supports you because, well, if your color
Yeah. Right.
sells,
Yeah.
want
Right.
to keep on hiring you to make things happen. Obviously, same thing with Michael's work and a variety of other people, and you've worked with pretty much everybody in Zenescope on coloring.
Yeah.
So chances are if you're a Zenescope collector, you have Sanju's work and his colors in your
Thank you so
collection,
much.
purposely or inadvertently, doesn't really matter because you've worked with pretty much everybody in that company.
Yeah.
So obviously, it's very cool to that degree. There's very few people you haven't worked with. So it's very cool to that degree. So obviously, buying that, getting that Frisbee when that book drops with this book. Obviously, maybe it'll be tonight. I do not know. Obviously, that's something to pay attention to and pick that up because it's going to be an awesome book and it's probably going to drop in the next month to 2 months. It's
Okay.
coming down the pike. So that's all I'm going to say. And I don't know anything. I'm just taking a gamble here and a guess.
Yeah.
So if Dave comes after me, I'll take the heat on it. But on that note, as I've been saying, you have to support indie creators. That means, as I sort of tease, you have to buy their work. If they have Patreons, you got to support them on Patreon. If they got Cash Apps, PayPal links, I have Buy Me a Coffee. It makes a
Yeah.
huge difference when somebody buys me a coffee. It's up in the links above. Sanju's links are up there as well. And you have to support it economically. That means buying work, giving money, because it does make a difference and it goes a long way. And so on that note, and even going further, and if you are in a financially rough time because COVID has wrecked a lot of people financially, please don't go into debt to support me or support somebody else. Instead, what I encourage everybody to do is like people's Facebook pages, share their Instagram pages, like them on Instagram, follow them on Twitter, share it, send their work around, say, hey, this is awesome, tweet about it, because it does make a huge difference. With this show, it makes a huge difference with your artwork because you never know who's looking. And somebody might say, oh man, this is an awesome piece and these colors are phenomenal. I need to have that book. And then that inadvertently makes a sale to somebody's book.
Yeah.
So
Right.
obviously that's what I'm encouraging everybody to do. And so on that note, I would like to give you the final word.
Yeah. Thank you so much actually for having me here. And this is my first interview, first interaction with anybody on the online. So this is the kind of different and the great experience for me. And I like doing the stuff what I do. I like my job a lot. Like I'm so I feel so lucky to doing my job, whatever I'm doing today. And thank you so much for having me here and
Well,
experience.
we are happy that you're
Yeah,
coloring, that you're
yeah.
bringing comics to life, and I know that a lot of Zenescope fans are very, very excited about it, and so that's why I wanted to have you on because obviously I recognize your work, I see your work all over the place, and you are very instrumental to bringing comics to life and colorists, much like
Thank
letterists,
you so much.
appreciate it, and I think more people need to appreciate and understand that you guys are massively instrumental in bringing out books. And obviously, we went through a lot of people, and we could have gone through. I think we went through maybe 70 books at most, and not even
Mm.
maybe 35 to 40 at most. Now that I think about it, and I'm rolling it back even further, and I'm being very generous. And you have over 250 credits on coloring, so there's so
Okay,
much done, and it is
that's great.
phenomenal. And so obviously, we just briefly touched upon your career so far,
Thank,
and
thank.
what you're doing is phenomenal, and I'm excited. I'm
Yeah,
excited for
I'm
this thing.
learning so many things from all the artists and all the publishers. Because I'm not from the digital background thing. I did only the fine arts, and I was a traditional artist like sketching and painting stuff. But digital thing was not my. This I came in this accidentally. My friend suggested me this. The that Amit Gadge is my friend. He suggested me the digital art and the comic art and Devant art. Then I come to the Devant art, and then Mike DeValvo found and Zenescope found, and then this journey started. I was not in the digital before that. I don't even know how to use computer or Photoshop before that. I learned direct on the covers only directly.
Well,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
phenomenal at it, and you coloring is phenomenal, and Zenescope is lucky to have you. And so, on
No,
that note,
I'm so lucky to be part of the team. I'm so lucky to be part of the team.
I think they're lucky to have you because you're a phenomenal colorist,
Thank
and
you.
obviously you bring a lot of those things to life. And so, on that note, that is a wrap.
Yep.